Hey yo guys, I'm back here, and here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the video that has been promised for a very long time. This would be the 2008 year-end awards for the world of combat sports. I've been promising this for a very long time, and now I finally delivered. A lot of thought went into the recipients of the awards, as it's very tough, especially a lot of the categories were very tough to make my choices. So, anyways, I first of all want to say I really, when I said announce some of the categories, I've added a couple categories, but that's mainly because I forgot to post them in the description box of the first video you saw with the awards. That's my apologies there, but still, if you want to make video responses or comment or send me messages, whatever, what your opinions are for each of these categories, feel free. I love to know what your opinion are as well. Video response would be the coolest, but, if you don't have a camera or you just don't feel like it, that's fine as well. But, I would love a video response. But anyways, let me get to the awards here. So, the first category is Wrestler of the Year Male. I went with Hiroshi Tanahashi, as I felt that, Tanahashi is just a fantastic worker, knows what he's doing in the ring. I mean, you can't have a bad match with him. I mean, he's basically got Kurt Angle syndrome, the good Kurt Angle syndrome with match-wise. But the main reason I picked him is Tanahashi is the leader of the new generation of fans getting into New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he's just gonna, he's leading in this new generation, which I think is good, as, a lot of the Japanese fans are there, the more hardcore have been there for a while, and, or just even the young casual fans are just, know of the legends, but I think he could be a legend in the making, and, getting those new guys in to watch the, New Japan show, he's definitely, to me, one of the best of the new generation. I mean, you got Hiroki Goto and Shinsuke Nakamura, but looks like they're gonna they've given Tanahashi the ball to run with it. I mean, he's now the 50th IWGP heavyweight champion, I should say. So, Hiroshi Tanahashi is my choice. He's a clear-cut winner, excellent worker, knows what he's doing in the ring, can't have a bad match, and the leader of the new generation. Though that's what I put him in there. Wrestler of the Year Female, I went with Awesome Kong, because to me, Kong is just one of the best, intimidating monster heel type characters going in the business today, man or woman. I'm honestly going to say that. And the fact that, she, for a very long period of time, was the most credible champion in total nonstop action wrestling goes to say a lot. I mean, Kong, you can put her in the ring with anyone, and she can, have a good match with anyone, and then make anyone else look good, which I think is a very strong key in them going here. When you look at her awesome feuds with, Gail Kim, her matches with ODB, Taylor Wilde. Yeah, Taylor Wilde's not the best, but you know what? She seemed credible. She made Taylor look incredible getting the pin on her. And, even at the last TNA pay-per-view of 2008 with Christy Hemme, she made Christy's offense and, the selling look great. So that's why I picked Awesome Kong. Then we go to MMA Fighter of the Year. I went with George St.Pierre. Well, I'm probably going to get a bit of flack. Is it, well, why no Anderson Silva? Anderson Silva, to me, is, a strong fighter. But, and so is GSP. Talent-wise and all-roundedness, I would probably say Silva may have a slight edge, but I went with St. Pierre because he's just as good a fighter as Silva, but he also has the thing that I think Silva is missing, and that's draw ability. St. Pierre is one of the biggest draws going into, any type of pay-per-view. He's got a real strong following, and, he was the gatekeeper for the UFC to be able to get into Canada, which is, where they wanted. Now they have a strong market in Montreal, so, I mean, how could you not pick him? I mean, he's a well-rounded fighter. And plus, I mean, I may get some flack for this comment, but people really expect now Silva to just dominate an opponent. When they don't get it, well, they won't. They're upset. With St. Pierre, they're expecting a strong, competitive type fight, which, you get majority of the time. So that's why I went with George St. Pierre. MMA Fighter of the Year Female, I went with Gina Corono. Exciting fighter. She adds something that, I think the UFC was missing, is she actually got, maybe the female fans to care about, female mixed martial arts and mixed martial arts in general. So that's why I went with her. And, she was the second biggest draw in the Elite XC promotion, just behind Kimbo Slice. So I could you not go with there? It's kind of a cop-out. I mean, there's only really two choices. It was either Corono or Cyborg, so I went with Corono. Anyways, then we go to the best box office draw. I went with Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, I don't want to say himself, but basically by himself, drew, 1.5 million people to watch his fight with Pacquiao. I mean, he's just such this great crossover promotion as he can get, people to care about his fight, not just, boxing or sports fan, but just a general person to care about his fight. He's got the Mexican-American heritage, so he can blend in with the Mexicans and the actual American citizens. And, he's just got this great personality. He's such a marketable fighter. Great fighter. I mean, his work on the 24/7 show to me, while Pacquiao, probably got a lot more people behind him than De La Hoya, him himself, being able to be, a marketing genius, promoted the fight, helped get the 1.5 million people to watch his fight with Pacquiao. So, biggest box office draw, I went with Oscar De La Hoya. Feud of the year, I went with Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. I went with this because we hadn't seen anything like this in pro wrestling in a very long time. Feud with a nice little edge to it. Especially with the work Jericho did towards, from SummerSlam on, punching, punching Shawn's wife in the mouth, just stuff like that. I mean, this feud was so good. It was good all around. I mean, great promos, intense, fierce promos where you actually believed what both men were saying. Great in-ring work, and, just stuff like that. I mean, it just elevated, both guys. I mean, Michaels keeps elevating himself year after year with a single program. And, Jericho finally found that program that was able to make him just, from a kind of a disappointment. So when he returned in late 2007 to, a star. And, in many people's minds, probably Wrestler of the Year. So I'm probably going to see a lot of Chris Jericho Wrestlers of the Year. So this feud was just great. And, they tried to elevate someone else in Lance Cade, but, unfortunately he had his own little issues there and he got released, but still, definite feud of the year between Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels. Tag team of the year, I went with the Muscle Outlaws from the Dragon Gate promotion. To me, these two guys are just excellent workers. They won the Twin Gate titles down there in Dragon Gate. But to me, I picked them because they were able to do something that, a lot of the tag teams, up for running. I had the Age of the Falls, Tyler Black and Jimmy Jacobs, Kevin Steen and El Generico, Prince Devitt and Minoru, Miz and Morrison. These guys were able to do something. They were able to go from different promotions, from to Ring of Honor to TNA, and brand and get a whole new audience into maybe their company and stuff. So that's the reason I picked them. Their work on Ring of Honor shows, which I think Ring of Honor, since they got this big boom at the end of 2007, were able to throughout 2007 I should say, were able to get some new fans to see them. Great matches with Kevin Steen and El Generico on the Dragon Gate Invasion show, and then they had an excellent six-man tag on the main event there. There were matches in TNA with the Motor City Machine Guns and Rey Bucanegro and Ultimo Guerrera. Excellent stuff. And their work in Dragon Gate this year was phenomenal, so that's why I picked them to be my tag team of the year. Most improved wrestler, could get some flack on this one, but my most improved wrestler was Nigel McGuinness. Say, well, how he really hasn't improved that much. I mean, hell, he got Ring of Honor title and was able to, but well, see, I went with this way. Ever since Nigel, got the belt, he got hurt, the arm injury, the head injury I'm not going to really blame on him, but, he worked a real strong, hard, smash mouth hitting type style. He was able to, after, he went through and read the Nowitzki book about, concussions and stuff, he was able to change his style and still make it look rough and be the most gentle guy in the ring. I mean, that is just something to me that says miles above anyone else. Another reason I picked him is, yeah, he got a character development. He became a heel over a stupid reason, let's just face it. The fans thinking he's a pussy because he didn't defend his title with, a sore arm and a massive concussion. But he was able to get this character and cut some great promos on, the fans, not, as intense as, Mick Foley's anti-ECW fan was back in, 1995, but still something of that level, which is really great. Has this ability to, and when he was even doing commentary on, from the Take No Prisoners pay-per-view and, onto the other DVDs, it was great stuff there. Nigel McGuinness is, the best improvement I've seen in, a long time. first of all, I was a person who never thought Nigel would get it in the ring. Nigel got it. Nigel then for a couple of while was just, a wrestler who was good. Nigel has now found that style that's just safe, for everyone's well-being. And, he helps make other people look good. Hello, Tyler Black, take no prisoners. So that's why I have to go there. Nigel McGuinness, most improved. And then we on the mic, Chris Jericho, best on interviews, Chris Jericho. I mean, ever since he changed his gimmick from Chris Jericho, save us, to Chris Jericho, screw you fans, excellent stuff. I mean, calling the fans hypocrites and stuff. Just saying some of the most outlandish stuff that, you could think of that just pissed the fans off because they're like, of course, this is not true. So it was just great work there. I thought it was a fantastic Chris Jericho. So Chris Jericho, best on the mic. Most charismatic, this one I have a tie, and my tie would be between John Cena and Brock Lesnar. John Cena has this charisma that's just incredible that he brings to any promo, any match, anything he does that makes you get invested into what he's doing. And, the fans just hate him because, he can't work a match. I'm pretty sure he's a lot better workers than a lot of people on, WWE and, even in some of the main events with Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. And anyways, let's not even get into that. But still, I mean, Cena with this amazing charisma, you are just invested in him. Lesnar has this charisma about him that, he got from his days of pro wrestling. He just is this presence in there. And he's just so charismatic when he gets in there and fights that, the fans, they like him or hate him, they care about Lesnar, which is just such a key part of this. To me, both guys have this charisma because the fans want to see one thing from them, and that's lose. I mean, in the worked world of professional wrestling, the fans just hate Cena. They want to see him lose and not do well. Lesnar, they just want to see lose and go back to professional wrestling. So that's why I went with both those guys. So John Cena, Brock Lesnar are my choices, and I just think it's funny that guys were part of the Ohio Valley Wrestling plant. So that's funny. Anyways, most overrated, I'm going to go with Vladimir Kozlov. I think this is a pretty obvious choice. Kozlov, to me, was a guy who has fallen into the WWE machine, but, in a negative light because he's just so bad. I mean, the WWE's been doing this to guys who can't work and are big and have a look since, they were the WWF in the late 70s with Ox Baker. Great look, great presence, not the greatest worker. So that's where we fall in here. Kozlov really, he got put up into places where he should have tried it. He should have performed a little better, with Undertaker on SmackDown. Couldn't deliver there. He couldn't deliver with Triple H, who, in a way could have helped a little better in the matches. But, then you're going to say, why didn't you put Triple H at the, most overrated? Triple H did his job with great matches with Jeff Hardy back in the late portions of all of 2008, really. So that's why I went with Kozlov. Bad at about everything he does. I mean, he's not a president. No one cares about him. So Vladimir Kozlov, most overrated. Most underrated, I went with back to the world of mixed martial arts with Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez is a great fighter. I mean, I don't know why he's been underlooked by big-time UFC. He definitely should be in there. I think he'd be a great addition to the lightweight division. Eddie Alvarez, great stand-up, great on the ground, can dominate. And he's just someone who's exciting because he just wants to fight. He wants to have a fight that, you would see maybe, in your schoolyard, but only with, skill in it, instead of just wild looping punches. He's stand-up and boxing only. He's excellent. I think Eddie Alvarez is just a fantastic fighter. I mean, he had 2 potential Fight of the Year candidates this year. So Eddie Alvarez is my choice for most underrated. Wrestling promotion of the year, I went with Dragon Gate. I went with Dragon Gate for a couple reasons. One, the in-ring work was great this year. We had many developments. There was factions that, disbanded. New factions were born. Opened the Brave Gate champion in... both in Shingo and now Naruki Doi. Excellent matches. Shingo was a strong champion after, the Shima neck injury. Strong tag division, the incorporation of the guys like, Austin Aries and El Generico. But I also went with them for this one reason. Branding themselves to a whole new audience other than, the Puro fan in Japan or the Puro fan that's in North America. But they were able to do it to, an audience that wouldn't even care about Japanese wrestling as they were to, go with Ring of Honor. Especially TNA helped out the Dragon Gate company a lot. But to me, one of the things that says how well Dragon Gate was doing is the fact that they got offered to have a TV show down in Hawaii. That is just something huge. They would have been the first Japanese company to have a television deal in America. So, big Dragon Gate there. MMA promotion of the year would be the Ultimate Fighting Championship. I mean, how can you not go against the Ultimate Fighting Championship? Fight quality, Yeah, there was a lot of great fights. There was, a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot of, there were some good fights, but, this company, marketing-wise and money-wise, definitely proved to be, the strongest company. I mean, they proved their, countdown specials, like, there's fights and stuff you wouldn't think to care about. So they did a strong job marketing themselves there. Helping create stars. I mean, getting the fights out that, a lot of people weren't expected to see, great moments. I mean, this company just had a strong year. That's why they're the biggest company in the world, and that so many people think that they are that. The sport of mixed martial arts is called the Ultimate Fighting Championships. That's because they know how to market themselves. So that's why I went with them. The best television show, I went with The Ultimate Fighter Season 8, as it was able to get people re-energized about the show, with adding, having people on the show interest you to keep tuning in, but it also provided, strong talent that actually could do well, and, the weight classes that were on this season of lightweight and light heavyweight, in the UFC. You had great fighters like Felipe Nover, Efren Escudero, Krzysztof Straczynski, Vinny Magalhaes, Ryan Bader. I mean, great talent. Even Dave Kaplan. So a lot of great fighters came out from here. So I thought that was a strong show. And you know what? You were invested in. I know for sure me. I don't know about a lot of you, but I know for me, I'm gonna be definitely tuning into season 9. So definitely big thumbs up to this show. Pro wrestling match of the year. I went with the Burning Faction versus the Kensuke Office from the Kensuke Office show back in about mid to late 2008. This to me was just the perfect example of how you do a 1-hour match. They did it so well where they showcased the young talent who, a lot of the people won't know, and they let them just tear the house down for the first 10-15 minutes. Just did a couple quick eliminations, and then for the majority of the match, where they wanted to have the star to give the talent the rub, and they just went out there and had a great match with, Kenta Kobashi giving the rub, even more to Kenta. I mean, Kenta's more established than, Nakajima trying to get the rub from Kensuke Sasaki, but still, that's what they did there. So I really like this, just a great example of how to have an hour match and not get bored throughout the whole match. I mean, you were on the edge of your seat for the whole point of this match. I really like this match, so thumbs up to this match as well. And to me, my MMA match of the year would be Eddie Alvarez versus Joachim Hansen from Dream 3. This fight was awesome. This was like a Rock'em Sock'em Robot fight. I mean, stand up, even on the ground, and on their knees, these men were out there punching the shit out of each other, and it was an excellent fight all around. I mean, Hansen showed the heart of a warrior. I mean, he got rocked multiple times, came back, brought it to Alvarez. Alvarez eventually went on to win the fight. He had another great fight on that show. I can't remember at the moment, but still excellent fight. Eddie Alvarez was excellent fight. I mean, I've already talked about Eddie Alvarez. This, rose the stock, in my opinion, of Joachim Hansen. So excellent fight of the year. Rookie of the year, I went to with the new horror Sami Callihan from the United States Independence. For those of you that don't know, if you've seen the new Ring of Honor pay-per-view, you'll see Sami Callihan. But to me, Sami Callihan's a small guy that works a heavyweight style, like a Stan Hansen. I mean, he's very physical with it. His clotheslines, his kicks, any of that nature. But he can also fly, so that's why I went with him. And I think there's big things for him. He also makes the other opponent look well. In his ability, so there could be big things for him up in the big leagues and Total Nonstop Action Wrestling in the WWE. So we'll just see. I definitely thought Sami Callihan had a great year. To me, the biggest moment for him was getting to the final 4 of the Ted Petty Invitational Tournament. So big ups to Sami Callihan. My next category is best non-wrestler. Best non-wrestler performer. I went with Sweet and Sour Larry Sweeney. I mean, how go with Larry Sweeney, as Sweeney had a great year helping make the Sweet and Sour faction to be one of the top factions in Ring of Honor, and one of the feuds to actually survive, because Sweeney is just great on the mic, and he helps with the talent that can't really cut a promo. I mean, he's right now, I think one of the best things Ring of Honor did was put Davey Richards with him, because Davey's not the greatest on the mic, but you got someone like Larry Sweeney. He can guide the way and get him more and stuff like that. I mean, he's a heat magnet, which is something awesome. Like, he's a Bobby the Brain Heenan type heel, where he can get the heat directed to the talent more so, not just himself. He gets it to himself as well, but not just himself. So I think you know what I'm saying. Next 2 categories are best television announcer and worst television announcer. Best television announcer is Matt Striker. In my opinion, Matt Striker wins this award simply because Matt Striker is a guy able to tell a great story in the ring, and you know, brings out these great flashy little things that are, you know, non-WWE history, you know, stuff from Mid-South, or, you know, WCW, or, you know, the AWA, anything of that nature. And, you know, I think he gets away with it because, you know, one, the WWE doesn't care about ECW, but still, excellent stuff. I mean, he also is able to, you know, do something that I don't know why a lot of the other commentators don't do, add that in-ring. You know, Taz used to do that all the time. That's what made Taz so well when he worked with Michael Cole. So he's doing that now still with Jim Ross. But, you know, and you know the fact that Striker's carried the ECW ship on the announcers. So ever since he got the replacement. Worst announcer, Mike Adamle, need I say more? Not a clue what he was doing in there, but he got thrown in there. So I really can't hold it against him. But he was terrible. He really had no clue what he was doing. So Mike Adamle. Anyways, best major pro wrestling show. Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor 3. Excellent show. Every match was absolutely fantastic. I mean, you had a title match that lived up to, you know, it was a rematch title match, and it lived up to everything that the original match was. You know, a great fight between Roderick Strong and Eric Stevens to continue their feud. Great comedy matches in Go Shiozaki versus Delirious. And, you know, you had, you know, just all-around well-rounded angles advancing with the Austin Aries. You know, the start of the Austin Aries Age of the feud with Jimmy Jacobs. I mean, we just had a lot of great stuff on the show, and the fact that this took place the same night as the Hall of Fame is just absolutely incredible. You know, that we did not know about how great this was going to be. So, Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor 3. Best MMA show of the year would be WEC 35, with every fight on that card being entertaining. I mean, there's not a fight you got bored at. And for, you know, mixed martial arts, trying to rise, you know, there can be that boring fight, you know, oh, let's just change the channel. No, you were hooked left, right, and center on this show. You know, you had a great fight with Brian Bowles, you know, coming from the depths of hell to get on this nasty-looking guillotine choke. Excellent war with Condit for the welterweight title. I mean, you know, a great light heavyweight fight. You know, just a great all around. I was a big fan of this show. To me, this was able to top, you know, a card that had 2 Fight of the Year candidates in WC 34, so thumbs up there for the WEC. The next category would be Worst Wrestler of the Year. Braden Walker, hands down, how can I not pick him? I mean, a guy that was, you know, fired from his in-ring rustiness. I mean, he definitely didn't take pro wrestling that serious. I mean, he let himself go, let him gain a lot of weight, and he was just very in the ring. I mean, if you look at his very first match with Estrada, didn't take himself seriously and was very dangerous in the ring. Worst Wrestler Female, I went with Raka Khan for the same reason, is that I guess her flaw is that she's too tall to be working with anyone, and she's just very green and inexperienced, and really, she's going to hurt someone pretty serious, so that's why I went with Raka Khan. Worst MMA Fighter of the Year, I went with Caleb Starnes, mainly from his god-awful performance up against Nate the Rock Corey at UFC 83. You know, he just absolutely ran away from Corey the whole fight. Not what you want, and I believe he got the lowest score I've ever seen in mixed martial arts. I think in the history of mixed martial arts, where one judge gave that fight 30-26. 30-26 to 30-24 was something in that range, but still, very disappointing performance. I mean, he got fired from his awful performance. I mean, he said he wasn't running, but clearly he was just jogging and trying to get away from Nate Corey as fast as possible. My worst MMA Fighter of the Year, the female, is Lena Kovakov. Kovakov, I should say, as, you know, she was just a female fighter who it looks like she took the, you know, the kickboxing or the MMA classes just for an exercise and really didn't want to get in there. I mean, she fought Kim Couture in the Strikeforce Destruction show. Yeah, it's a tough opponent and all, but still, I mean, if you don't want to get hit, why are you doing mixed arts? So that's why I picked her. The worst tag team of the year, I went with Giant Bernard and Rick Fuller from New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan tried to recreate the success of Giant Bernard and Travis Tomko with this team, but the fact is that, you know, you had Bernard, who's actually turned out to be a good worker, but Rick Fuller is someone who's never been a good worker, and, you know, I think that was a waste of money for New Japan to bring Rick Fuller, a guy who was, you know, barely could work a dark match WCW in the late 90s, so I don't know, it's just not a great team. I mean, Fuller didn't last that long, but still, it was a bad tag team, if you just don't mind me saying. Mainly on the Fuller part, but still a bad tag team. I mean, Bernard got brought down with this. Anyways, worst major pro wrestling show of the year, I went with TNA Final Resolution, the Impact version, due to the fact that, you know, I've went through this a million times. The fact that they hype everything to sell for Impact, which is what you don't do on pay-per-view. You have an audience there that's paid money to watch. Why are you telling them to watch the important stuff to happen on Impact? You know, we had a burial of a tag team in the Motor City Machine Guns with the Complex High on. The debut of a character on pay-per-view, which is always a no-no, especially one where you even admitted that no one was really going to buy and you were hyping up the pay-per-view for the start of 2009. So, anyways, that's why I picked that one. And the worst show of the year to me would be Elite XC Heat, as I felt this show, you know, it just was barred in controversy from the reasons why Ken Shamrock did not want to fight Kimbo Slice to the whole Seth Petrozelli Kimbo Slice fiasco, which eventually killed the promotion, so that's why I picked that one. Best wrestling move of the year, I went with Tyler Black's God's Last Gift. To me, this move is just a really innovative way to get a, you know, a pinfall off a big move, so innovative way to get a pinfall, so that's why I picked that. And you know, Tyler Black hits it well, and you know, it looks devastating, and it's really just a small package from a brainbuster, so that's why I picked it. The most disgusting promotional tactic to me, went through this already, was Jeff Hardy passing out on the Survivor Series angle that they tried to pass off to major news outlets. It's like, no, you don't do that, because clearly your work, you're clearly doing the Owen voice when you don't need to, and you know, you're just crying wolf. I mean, this could happen, especially to someone like Jeff Hardy, so if it happens to someone, like God forbid it doesn't happen, you know, what major news station's actually going to care if that happens? The worst television show of the year, I went with Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling, as to me this show, while it was entertaining for the train wreck variety, it made professional wrestling look way too easy. You could just go into a wrestling school and learn a move, like how to do a match in 2 days. Not like 2 days you could learn how to do a match. So that's why I wasn't a big fan of it. And the fact that they're planning on touring with this, they clearly won't get any mileage out of that, but still. Hogan Celebrity Championship Wrestling. Worst match of the year, I went Black Tie Brawl and Chain between Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal. Really, this match was terrible. Two gimmicks in one, especially when you have kind of a comedy gimmick to a feud you're trying to get over as serious. I don't get it. Really, then I went to the next category, which was Worst MMA Fight of the Year. I've kind of already touched on this. It was Caleb Starnes versus Nate The Rock Corey, UFC 83. Starnes just absolutely playing chicken against Corey, so that's why I picked that one. Worst feud of the year, Sanjay Dutt versus Jay Lethal. A feud to two guys, and could not happen more, as after the feud takes place on Slammiversary, you have the legends from, you know, the WWF, you know, Steel, Kamala, Roberts, and Beware just bury Dutt, and then you just go into wacky, stupid gimmick matches like the Black Tie Brawl and Chain, and then, you know, you had a stupid swerve that you didn't need, so that's why I picked that feud. Worst promotion of the year, I went with the Inoki Genome Federation, as the fact that this company had too many, you know, financial issues in that aspect, you know, but still in quality, I don't think anyone really wants to watch, you know, MMA and pro wrestling together. Even in Japan, I don't think that style meshes at all. That's why I picked that promotion. The worst MMA promotion of the year would be Yama Pit Fighting, as the fact that they tried to hype something, you know, this new cage that didn't work. You had all these past your prime fighters on there that, you know, no one, even who's getting into MMA, is going to really care to research. Excuse me. So that's why I picked that. I mean, the whole cage thing with the lips, like this NASCAR track up in there, so fighters wouldn't get up against the fence. Well, they did. And then you had just dumb ring announcer with, you know, his weird quirks. I mean, it just felt like you were watching a UFC event from 1993 and 2008. So that's why I picked that one. Promoter of the year, Dana White, able to, you know, make people... He's able to get himself out there, promote the events, you know, so to a mass variety of people to understand and know. I mean, there's people probably, you know, 6 months ago who wouldn't know about, you know, Couture versus Lesnar. He's able to, you know, use the tactics that he has, you know, with, you know, his appearances on Spike and stuff of that. That's why I picked Dana White. Best gimmick went to the Brian Kendrick, as, you know, he was able to be this hipster doofus and, you know, got to showcase, be heel cool spanky, and, you know, just worked it with a T. That's why I picked that one. And, you know, he got to shine because of this new gimmick. The worst gimmick I went with was Suicide. I mean, it's a character from a video game that no one bought, and I don't think anyone wants to see a video game character on frickin' TV. So... I picked that one. Best book was Total MMA by Jonathan Snowden, simply because this book was able to, you know, tell the history from how MMA started to where we are now. Excellent book. I recommend you pick that up. Best wrestling DVDs, High Spots, Ric Flair shoot interview. Come on, it's the ultimate shoot that everyone's wanted. We get to hear stories and stuff that, you know, we really couldn't get to hear in depth. I thought it was great. Interviewer to Flair. Excellent stuff. I mean, who doesn't want to hear some guy with, you know, the credentials of Ric Flair talk for, you know, 4 discs? So that's why I picked that DVD. Worst book was Beer, Blood, and Cornmeal. Way too descriptive. You know, it was way too long for a book about, you know, a promotion that I don't think anyone knows about. Yeah, in the Insanity Pro Wrestling promotion, which is around Southern California, around, the late 90s, so that's why I picked it. Just descriptive and stuff like that. And the worst DVD was The Twisted and Demented Life of Kane, simply because this WWE makes a killing on DVD sales, but this DVD was too kayfabed and stuff of that nature, and, you know, just Kane really deserve a DVD. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Would love to know your thoughts, video responses, and text comments or messages. But that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.